What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And we just got back from seeing the Suicide Squad, and I felt like it is my duty to post a review of this video. As usual, the first half of this review will be spoiler-free. Second half will have spoilers. And before I go into spoilers, I will move this Suicide Squad side to this side of the screen. If it's on this side of the screen, though, don't worry, it will remain spoiler-free. I will let you know halfway through the video when I begin to speak about spoilers, when the spoilers start. But the first thing I want to say about this movie is I disagree almost entirely with the critics about this film. Right now, this movie is setting in like 31% at Rotten Tomatoes, which is a website that aggregates all the different reviews, meaning it got a majority of negative reviews. I think that is completely unfair. Of all of the DC films that we've seen, with the exception of The Dark Knight, I think this is my favorite. And I'd love to go into why, and I definitely will with this video. I think I understand why that happens, though, because I think I understand what the critics want from the DC universe, what they want from a movie. They want a grueling snuff film like The Revenant, or when I was growing up, the movie The English Patient. They want these grueling, like, showing the dark side of lives type of movie. And that's what Batman vs. Superman tried to be. That's what The Man of Steel tried to be, and it tried to please the critics. This movie, I think, tries to please the audience, the summer popcorn-eating DC superhero fan. I think it tries to please us, and because of that, it very successfully did. They learned, I think, a lot when making this film, because there is certainly a decent pacing to it. I think there's a lot of seriousness with a little humor, seriousness with a little humor, seriousness with a little humor. The character development is spot on. The acting is spot on. Margot Robbie, I believe she's the person who played Harlequin, steals the movie. She does such an incredible job. I regret every bad thing I said about Will Smith playing Deadshot. He did an incredible job. The movie's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It is juggling a lot of characters. It is trying to juggle a very complex plot. It is trying to do a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. It is trying, for the first time in the DC universe, to mix a little bit of humor and a little bit of campiness with a little bit of seriousness and a lot of action, and also trying to do it in a way that is not cringeworthy and not upsetting in any way. It's kind of like if the DC universe was trying to make a decent Avengers film. It's kind of that approach, only in some ways done a little bit differently, and in some ways I think even done maybe a little bit better. The idea of dealing with the Suicide Squad, which is just a complicated concept to begin with, bad guys being forced to do good things, and give them the motivation and give them the character development they need in this little two and a half hour flick, complicated thing to do. They did it so much better than I thought they were going to do. If you have a problem with Jared Leto's Joker in the trailers, you will probably continue to have that problem as you watch this film. He's not in there as much as you would expect, but he's in there enough. I think maybe that belonged to the spoiler section. So I better let me try to make sure I stay spoiler-free until we get into the spoiler section. I will definitely say they did a much better job with this movie than I had expected. Do you need to rush out to see it this weekend? Probably not. There's no big plot points that can be spoiled for you. There's no twist ending or anything like that. It's not something you have to see today upon release. It is something that I definitely think you should see at some point. And I think seeing it in the theater is not a bad idea because there's quite a bit of action that looks really, really good on the theater screen. So I don't think you'll regret having seen it at the theater. So that said, much better than expected. Way better than the critics thought, and I will go right into the spoiler section now. So here we go. Time for spoilers. It's time for spoilers. It's time for spoilers. It's time for spoilers. Okay. First spoiler. Will Smith. Congratulations, sir. What an incredible job you did with Deadshot. I was shocked at what an incredible job you did. Deadshot's character is well-rounded. He is interesting. He has a lot of incredible lines. They are delivered perfectly. The dude knocks it out of the park with this one. I was terrified that he was going to get in there and Will Smith it up and just play Will Smith. And maybe he even did for this movie, but Will Smith makes a good Deadshot, or Deadshot makes a good Will Smith. Like, they don't, to me, I have no preconceived notions of what Deadshot is supposed to be. Will Smith is a wonderful Deadshot. Exactly the same goes for Harlequin. I have a lot of conceptions of what I expect Harlequin to be. Harley is a difficult character to draw. She's a difficult character to write. She's a difficult character to act. So many times, so often, she can come across as try-hard or cringeworthy or frustrating. Absolutely did not do that in any case. There was maybe one line, I don't even remember the line, in which I was just kind of like, that's a little try-hard. But every time she says something, it's smart, it's funny, it's interesting. I never had a problem with her in this movie. I think she's fantastic, which is really saying something about the writing. It's really saying something about the actress that plays her. What an incredible job they did there. Ben Affleck is in the movie briefly as Batman, as Bruce Wayne. He's okay. I'm getting used to a Batfleck. I think my wife still has a problem with Batfleck, and I don't believe her. She's over here in the corner at her new little battle station right now, listening to me film this review live. Also probably playing Hearthstone, if I had to guess. But she, actually no, I think she's buying Batman and Harlequin clothes over there. I think she's actually doing it right now. She enjoyed the movie. What did you think of the movie overall? Yeah, she loved it. And I got to say, I did too. Some of the criticisms I heard is that the Joker is not in the movie enough. But the problem with that is if you put the Joker in it much more, it becomes a Joker/Batman movie. And that's not the title of the movie. The title of the movie is quite clearly Suicide Squad. The Joker's in there just about a maximum amount that he can be to still have it to be a Suicide Squad movie. And I think that's the right decision. Same with having Bats show up very, very briefly at a couple of points in the movie. And when he does, he's necessary, he's useful, he is interesting, he's done well. I like that part. They are juggling a lot of characters, and because of that, there are 3 or 4 main characters on the screen. You've got, obviously Deadshot and Harley, then you've got the soldier that puts them all together, then you have the bad guy, which is the Enchantress, which the Enchantress was not a particularly interesting bad guy. Of course, her brother, I guess, which is kind of her pet or whatever. I don't even know those villains very well. I'm not that familiar with the DC Universe to know those villains very well. But I have to say, and that's probably going to affect your opinion of my opinion of the movie, and that's fine. If you're a diehard DC fan, I am not. If you're a diehard DC fan, I can see where you're going to have problems with this movie. I don't. But a lot of the other characters are in there that are difficult to bring to life. You can't really make a Killer Croc movie, right? Like that's not. You can't really make a Boomerang movie or Slingshot or who are those characters. As far as I know, are not that deep or not that interesting in my experiences with them. They were in the movie a right amount, and man, I gotta say it really came together. One of the critical complaints I heard by the critics was, the character development in the first part of the movie is very good. Second half of the movie not so great. I actually thought it was amazing once I understood the characters' motivations and understood what they were trying to do and understand why they were trying to do it and saw them being pushed in that direction and being wrangled and being forced to do this stuff. I thought it was a fantastic dynamic. I thought it was brilliant. So honestly, I really think you should probably see the movie at some point, even if you don't see it on opening weekend. Maybe you'll want to see it before it leaves the theaters. Surprisingly better. And I gotta say, once again, this is one of those instances where I just feel like the critics didn't get it. Either that or the critics just are not the target audience. I told my wife on the way home, I felt that they definitely targeted this movie to a more younger audience and a more urban audience. And I don't know if that makes me sound like an old white racist. Probably it does. I don't know. But it does feel like they targeted to a much different audience that generally your critics are not. Your critics are generally not these types of people that are being targeted. Young, smart, hip youth. That's just basically the case. Of course they didn't get it, and I don't blame them. I'm surprised I got any of it. But I did. Now I'm going to go shut my old white decrepit mouth and stop sounding like an idiot. Guys, thank you for watching. I love you very much. Speak with you again soon. And if you see the movie, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your reviews as well. They're just as valid and as important as mine. So guys, please read the comments. See what the people have to say. I'll speak with you again very soon.